I actually don't wholesale single family homes. I don't wholesale condos. I don't wholesale anything but multifamily property, and here's why. Let's dig into a deal. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping in. My name is Ryan Corcoran. I created this channel to push out as much free information on real estate investing as I could for you guys, so you guys can live an abundant, huge life, living the life that you want through real estate investing. So let's dig in to this video. So what we're going to talk about today is how wholesaling multifamily property and flipping multifamily property and actually buying and holding multifamily property has huge profits in comparative to single family and condo. Now, you're probably saying, okay, but there's not that many multifamily homes compared to single family. True. You know, it's easier to flip a single family. Maybe true. But here's the deal. When you lock up a single family home, let's call it $200,000. It's maybe worth $400 when it's done. Needs $150,000 of rehab, and you get it under contract for $200. You might be able to sign that for $225, right? Make $25,000 split. What if I told you you could make $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 or more on just one deal in multifamily, right? So for you to do $100,000 a month at, let's call it $10,000 or $15,000 per split, with single family, if you're lucky, maybe 20, if you're really, really good, maybe 25. Okay, so we're talking between 4 and 10 deals a month to get to 100,000. In multifamily, you can quite literally do 1 to 2 deals, maybe 3 deals a month and hit that 100,000. Think about how much less work it actually is to get there. Okay, so we're gonna dive into a deal today. This specific property came from direct mail, as do most of my leads. Town about 45 minutes away from me. I got a call. The seller, very, very sweet, nice lady, called me and said, I've got multiple letters over the last couple of years from you. I'm ready to sell my property now. I'm a licensed broker. I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 right? This is the only multifamily property I own right now. I bought it about 12 years ago with my husband. We have since recently got divorced, and I'm looking to offload it. Boom. We go look at the property. Before I actually went and looked at the property though, I got every single piece of information I possibly could get out of this lady outside of what the deal was, meaning I got her emotional state. She just got divorced. She's trying to offload the property. She has 2 kids who aren't ready to take over the property. She lives 45 minutes away. It's a pain in the butt for her to get there. All these things, right? And then we start diving into the property itself. 6 units. She redid all the units over. They're all in impeccable condition. They're all big units. They're all 1,000 to 1,300 square feet. The property was built in 1960. There's a beautiful yard. There's 9 parking spots. And she keeps going on and on and on. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's no way I'm going to make this work because she's going to want way too much money for this thing. She's going to want way too much money for this thing. And so I ended up asking her, hey, this is how I worded it. Rena, what do you think the property value is worth to you? Or have you talked to anybody about what you think the property is worth? And she goes, I've already determined a fair market value, and she thinks it's $700,000. And I'm thinking, all right, $700,000 for 6 units, that's not going to work typically for an older building. However, this is built in 1960, so about 60 years newer than most of them. These are garden-style units, so I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, I might be able to make this work. She gives me all the numbers, and I start running everything through, and come to find out that $700,000 for this is actually a really good deal for an end buyer. Like a really good deal. It would probably be listed around $850 on the MLS. Before we get into actual numbers, which I'm going to do, kind of a screen share for you guys, we ended up locking this thing. I offered her $625 before I sell the property. She came back and said, let's do $650. I agreed. We met in the middle at $650. So before I went and saw the property, what did I do? Because I've been building a network, I reached out to everyone I know who might be interested in that property. I pulled a buddy of mine who I know has buyers in that area. He said, yep, I'm going to bring a buyer with you. When are we doing it? Thursday, 9:30. So we meet at the property. It's myself, my buddy, and the buyer. We walk through the property. We lock it up. It's locked up for $650. The thing is impeccable condition. Not one single thing needs to be done on this property. Super, super rare from a wholesaling or flipping perspective. Most of the time, individuals want, they demand a high price for these properties. Why was I able to get this so low? 2 things. Number one, off market, direct mail. I built a relationship with her, right? She could have told me that fair market value would be 800, and I probably would have been stuck, and I wouldn't be able to get anywhere, because offering $200,000 below asking would have been a little bit tough, right? The second reason after building a relationship was that the rents were low, okay? And I knew the rents were low, but I know that in 1960s properties, they're in pretty good shape. They don't need that much TLC if they've been kept up with. She told me she rehabbed them all recently in the last 15 years. These are all little bells that are ringing in my head like, okay, this could possibly work. This could possibly work. You know, I think she's motivated. I can tell that she's ready to sell this. And it's in my wheelhouse of 6+ unit properties. Why do I say that? Because it doesn't rely on comps. 6 unit properties and larger, actually 5 and larger, but really 6 is, they don't rely on comps. The one next door could have sold for $400,000, and this one could be worth $800,000, and it's totally dependent on the income, the net operating income, and the cap rate in the town. So, with all that said, let's get into the nuts and bolts of what the numbers look like. Why I was able to lock this up for $650, was then able to assign it for $700 and make a $50,000 assignment fee in 4 weeks. This 6 unit in Blackstone, Mass. So, as you can see, we got 6 units up on the top left right here. The as is, and this is what I was saying, this is where the value is created, okay? Remember I said there was no work to be done on this property. 0 work was needed, and I'll actually, we'll take you through some pictures as we're going through these numbers so you can see that there really is no work needed to this property. So, a 3-bedroom apartment with heat included at $1,800 for the condition it's in. Really, this number should be like $2,100, but I'm being safe, okay? So safe number $1,900. So a 2-bedroom at $1,375, and then a 2-bedroom that was just freshly redone, non-rented. Those should both be at $1,600, and 1 bedroom should be around $1,200. So as you can see, we're about $100, maybe even $300 below on this. About $250 to $225 below on this. We'll get that rented. Which hence, see this right here? This is why the cap rate is showing low, because this one's vacant. If I move this to 1,600, you're gonna see the cap rate jump to 7.25, right? Again, this is why we're creating value in wholesaling. You're selling potential, right? And if you can become really good at selling potential, you will make a ton of money in wholesaling. So we're looking at roughly a little bit under $6,000 in monthly rent right now, and we're gonna turn that into $8,700. Property tax pretty much stays the same. Insurance, I always increase this a little bit, even though it doesn't really change. Maintenance went up. I have it at 6%. Do I have it at 6%? I actually have maintenance at 6%. Usually I do 5%. Maintenance at 6%, although probably not going to need it. So let's drop that down to 5%. Again, because the building is in really good condition. Vacancy, heat is a little bit high because it's included as 1 boiler. Just common for electric. Water and sewer, about $300. The town pays for the trash, which is huge. And then management, I have 10% written. It's actually in here for 7%, which I think is a fair amount. All right, so that puts the purchasing cap at a 5.2, 5.3 cap rate. Now, I know people are saying there's no way you can get that to sell, but you got to remember that this unit right here, it's ready to go. All she has to do is fill it, and now all of a sudden it's a 7.5 cap, which is really what this town warrants. So $700,000 purchase price puts us at about $525K of a loan, or $560 depending on the loan that you're getting. There is no rehab budget needed. So let's go over to our cash out portion. So here's what it's going to look like for the year. Our NOI is 61. At a 7.75, we have a value of almost $800,000. Now, keep in mind, they're buying this at $700. This property needs 0 work, literally 0, just rental increases. So they're going to be able to pull out about let's call it $70,000 of capital at the end of the day. Now, to purchase this property, they're going to be buying it in all cash. But if they were to, let's say, go refinance it after they pull out the cash, they've got $175,000 in the deal. But when they do a cash out, they're going to pull about, let's call it, just for numbers' sake, $70,000 back out. So they're only going to leave $105,000 in the deal, and they're going to make $25,000 a year in net profit. Guys, that's a 25% return on investment. Why was I able to make $50,000 on this deal? Number one, I found a great deal. Number two, I found mismanaged property, value that was not being utilized, and this Not to mention, you could charge for parking, you could charge another, jack this up for $200 for coin ops, and it keeps going, right? And so, again, big profits for multifamily property, and this is a small one. This is actually not that big of a profit. A $50,000 assignment fee is really not that big. But I wanted to do a video on this to show you guys. Imagine if you could just get four or five of these a month, right? You're talking, $250,000 a month in these properties, and then all of a sudden you can start buying them for yourself with the capital you have. And the last thing I want to touch on is a lot of you say, well, why wouldn't you buy this yourself? The reason I wouldn't buy this one myself is because I'm not buying 6-unit properties anymore. I just bought a 36 unit, I bought an 11 unit, I bought a 12 unit. I'm trying to, I'm going bigger and bigger. It is the same amount of work to buy a single family, a duplex, a 6-unit, or a 36 unit, or a 150 unit, right? Same amount of work, bigger numbers, a little bit more complicated, but at the end of the day, it's the same amount of work. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful going through the numbers, talking about, really what I'm going to be doing in 2023 to really jack my income up, or keep it up, I should say, and keep, keep crushing it and keep moving along. Just remember that every year, every deal, every day, every single day you wake up has got to be a banger, and go out there and make it happen. Like, comment, subscribe.